Thanks once again for joining me for another edition of Web Chats. I'm Sabrina Storm, and my special guest in studio today, she is from the area. Very lucky to have Erica Humphrey in studio. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with me. We're going to chat about this book and about what you're doing these days. So for those who don't know who you are, who is Erica Humphrey?
Yes, Sabrina, thank you so much for having me on the show. So I'm a former youth in care that's turned award-winning fitness and lifestyle professional, motivational speaker, and author. And I was born and raised in Oxford County as well.
There you go, homegrown. When you say a former youth in care, so just give us a little taste of what life used to be like before you really have sort of settled into becoming a very successful person.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story, really. So, pretty normal girl, born and raised in Woodstock with two brothers, my parents. But I experienced some mental health challenges early on. So in elementary school, it built into high school. And one thing kind of led to another, like a domino effect. I began coping unhealthfully. My parents went through a pretty brutal separation and divorce. Ended up being the best thing for them. But through that journey, it was pretty tough. I started going towards substances and looking for love in really all the wrong places. Was getting in trouble, hanging out with the wrong crowd. I started committing crime. So at the ages of 14 and 15, I left this city, Woodstock, in a paddy wagon and was in juvenile detention centers.
Wow. I mean, just knowing who you are and what you're all about now, I mean, that is quite the history. You've changed your life entirely. How did you do that? And, I know you have some tips on how others can do that, but how did that happen?
First and foremost, it was a choice that I wanted change in my life. My mom intervened when I was sitting in an open custody facility and I wanted change. I had the opportunity to go into a residential group home and I jumped on it. So when I went into that, my recovery road really began. It was several things that made a difference. One, bringing faith into my life, working on the 12 steps, but turning to fitness was transformative for me because I wanted a life change and I realized I had to change my lifestyle. So at 16, I turned to fitness and it became a form of therapy. It really became my medicine and helped me work through a lot of emotions. And it really turned into a beautiful career since then.
And speaking of fitness, you are donning the Ride, Don't Hide attire here, and you were their community champion this time around. So tell us about that experience.
It was a dream come true. So I left this city at 15, 16 in a paddy wagon, as I said. I came back about a year and a half ago with the love of my life and two dogs, and I've really reconnected and rebuilt relationships with my family as my whole family lives here. So we were team superheroes. We did the 8K family ride together, and we were the #1 team fundraiser. So it was very exciting to give back to Oxford County's walk-in counseling, and then we did some cool activities in the community. We ran a Zumba fundraiser event at the Polish Hall to raise awareness on the mental health stigma, to stop stigma, and celebrate the positive benefits that exercise has on our mental health.
You are awesome. I'm pumped right now. Okay, let's talk about this amazing tool that you have. It is available on shelves at all Indigo stores. It's I Am My Own Superhero. This is your baby. This is your book. How did this happen?
It was a burning desire inside of me wanting to express what I went through, and a part of that stigma is speaking up, using your voice for good, for change. So I started writing, and it became a form of therapy as well. I experienced a lot of healing writing out my story. So the beginning part is my story, my upbringing, and then how I turned my life around positively, and I share activities in it. The workbook allowed me to really rebuild and start the rebuilding phase with my mom and my dad to really open up the dialogue about what happened so we could experience healing and recovery.
I love that it is a workbook because all too often you see, self-help books that are just a read and there isn't any area to do some of the work. And I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of work that needs to be done if you're looking into the area of self-help.
100%. I think the common denominator is realizing that we can be our own hero and we can read those books and we can say, okay, that sounds great, but really change only happens when we apply it to our own life. And we need to reflect. That's been the hardest thing, is to be bold and be honest with myself, to be able to look in the mirror and say, you know what, how you behaved wasn't good. It wasn't good for you or anybody else, and having enough courage to learn to forgive myself, ask for forgiveness, and continue to use my example as a story that change is possible no matter what. And eventually personal growth can get to a place where it can be fun, because you feel so empowered having those skill sets with you that you can apply every day in your life. And then the ball keeps rolling. You keep enhancing those relationships and attracting new friends, romantic relationships, and you start living a real healthy and easygoing life.
Who is this book for? Is it for kids? Is it for adults? Who should be buying this?
Really, it's for ages 11 and up. It's for everybody because it's such a universal theme, and I believe that we all have life work and growth to do. That's why we're here. So it's really for everybody that's 11 and up, and parents' discretion. Some kids are reading it under 11, but it's for youth and parents and educators, healthcare professionals, anyone who wants to learn more about their mental health, personal fitness, or anyone who works with people in those areas.
And what are you doing in the near future? Where can we find you?
You can find me in my studio at Erica's Fitness Movement, where I'm running personal training sessions with clients here in Woodstock. I'm also on the road teaching motivational fitness classes with school boards and running keynote presentations as well. You'll catch me with my 2 big doggies at Piddock Park because I love it. I love biking there and just love trying new foods and being out in our community.
I'm glad you brought up the movement. Tell me briefly, what is the movement and how can we become part of the movement?
Yeah, absolutely. The movement is about creating healthy bodies and healthy minds, and that fitness can be for everybody. When we look back when we were introduced to fitness, a lot of the times it's very much athletic movements where I like to mix things up and have great music, some dance moves, and really meet that person on their level, what excites them. So the movement, you can get involved by reaching out to me this year for the rest of the year. Part of my championship with Ride Don't Hide is I'm giving 30-minute complimentary fitness training sessions. What I'm asking for is I'm donating my time, asking for a small donation, whatever you think is that would fit, and then I'm going to be giving that back to Oxford County's walk-in counseling service.
Oh, so good. Yeah. So good. Okay, this is out on shelves now. People can get it at Indigo, yes?
Chapters Indigo Canada, across the country, or online as well.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much, Sabrina.
One last question. Who is your favorite superhero?
You know what? I get asked this a lot, and I think the answer keeps on changing. It started out with Wonder Woman. I think me becoming my own hero too, but God, my parents, all my mentors and coaches and therapists that have been with me along the way. It's really, really hard to pick.
It's just evolved over the years, right?
Yes, it has been. I mean, I believe that everyone has a hero inside of them waiting to be discovered. Some people have discovered it. Some people are still going through their journey. Some people have owned it. I think what's really important is that, I think everyone can be a hero.
If you were a superhero, like a real superhero, what kind of superhero power would you have?
Ooh, I like this one. I would like to fly. I think that'd be really cool. But one of my favorite powers to have is the energy that I have and the positivity. I think that is contagious. And I've been able to see people who are going through a hard time in life and share my positive energy, and I've watched how their mood has changed. So.
Well, it's true. I wasn't in the greatest mood, and I'm in a pretty good mood now, thanks to this lovely gal. Thank you so much for stopping by. All right, go out and get it. It is I Am My Own Superhero. You can find it at Chapters Indigo all across the country. Once again, my thanks to Erica Humphrey for joining me in studio today. I'm Sabrina Storm. Be sure to join us for another edition of Web Chats. We'll see you next time.